Hi there, my name is Ruthie. I work at the Decatur Library, and this is the first episode in a 6-part series on crafting for the holidays. So no matter what holidays you're going to celebrate this year, I wanted to give you some ideas on handmade goods that you can make for friends and family. I know this is kind of a weird year because of COVID. We may not be able to see our friends and family in the way that we would like to. So I wanted to give you some ideas for making gifts for people by hand. So tune in every Wednesday afternoon. The new videos will be coming up through the month of November and the first 2 weeks of December. Okay, our project that we're making today is this lovely little crocheted cup cozy, and it's held together by a little button here. The nice thing about this project is that it's really easy to put together. You could make this in a few hours in an afternoon, even if you're a beginning crocheter or if you've never crocheted before. This is a really easy project to make. The only stitches you're going to need to know how to do are a single crochet. You'll also need to know how to do a slip stitch and a chain, which you'll see explained in the next part of the video here as well. You can make these bigger or smaller depending on the size of the cup that you're going to use, and of course you can give that cup as a gift as well, or you could give a couple of these in different sizes to the same person so they could mix and match as they see fit. You can also make these for other cylindrical items, like I made this one for a candle, so you can see that. So there's just a few supplies that you need to make this project. You're going to need some yarn. Today I'm using this sugar and cream yarn. It's 100% cotton, really easy to find, quite cheap. It's really easy to use, especially for a beginner if you're just starting out. You'll also need a crochet hook, and on your yarn it should usually say what crochet hook is recommended. Today I'm using an H hook. It's a 5mm hook, and that corresponds with my yarn. And then you'll also need a needle that has a nice big hole on one end so you can fit your yarn through it. And last thing is you're going to need a button to put on to secure it. You can buy a button at a craft store, or you can just use a leftover button from an old garment or something like that. That's what I've done with this one. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start our project by creating a slip knot like you would start most crochet projects. How I like to do that is just wrap my yarn around a few of my fingers, and then I have a nice big loop. I'm gonna take my crochet hook and put it through that large hoop and grab the side of that bit of yarn that's hanging out the other side. And what that's going to do is create a little loop and knot where you can start your project. For this first row, we're going to do 11 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you're at 7, just go ahead and check your gauge to see. It should be about 2 inches when you have 7. If you need to at this point adjust your hook size, you can do that based on what your gauge looks like. I think that should be 11 now. We are gonna then go across the whole thing with a single crochet. And we're going to do that by placing that hook into the second to the last of our chains, and then creating that single crochet. You're going to continue that single crochet all the way across till you get to the other end. You should end up with 10 total single crochets. All right, so we've gone all the way across. You should have 10 single crochets all the way across. And then we're just going to flip our project over, do 1 chain for our height, and then do another row of single crochet all the way across. And you're going to continue this same process of doing rows of single crochets, 10 stitches each, so until you have a long enough piece. So you're going to want to go, I'm going to say about 30 rows depending on the circumference size of the item that you're going to be using this for. And we'll just continue that same way, and we'll check back in once you're done with that. So to do that little small portion, we're going to flip our project over again. We're going to do one chain, and then we're going to do a slip stitch in the first 3 of our stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Once you get there, you're then going to do 6 single crochets in, first of all, in that first one we did the slip stitch in, and you'll do another 5, so a total of 6 single crochets across. All right, so that's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll stop there, turn our project over, and do the same thing we did on the larger part of the body. Do a single chain and then go across, this time 6 single crochets across. And you're gonna do this for rows, for about 6 rows. You can make it as long as you want again, but 6 rows is about, 6 or 7 is about good. Alright, so we've come to the end of that 6th or 7th spot, the row. So we're going to flip over our project once again, and then we're going to do another chain and a single crochet and a single crochet, so 2 single crochets. And this is the moment that we're going to make that loop for our button. So what you're going to do is just chain 8 chains. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to skip 2 and attach that loop to the next one after that. Sometimes this can get a little funky. All right, and pull that through and do a single crochet there. And you'll do a second single crochet in the next spot here from the last row. You're going to end up with a little loop that will attach to your button when we put it on. All right, so now we're going to do our edging. So we're just going to do single crochets all around the whole edge of our project, and we're going to work 2 single crochets into each of the outer corners. So I'm going to show you how to do one of these corners. I've gone all the way down here, evenly crocheted a single crochet, and then I'm going to, once I'm at this corner, I'm going to do 1 crochet, 1 single crochet, and 1 more in that same spot, and then continue doing my single crochets all around that edge. And what this does is just give it a nice finish on the edge there. And you're just going to continue that process all the way down, all the way around the whole perimeter here. Again, putting 2 stitches in each of your corners. So that's going to be the bottom 2 corners here, this top corner here, and then the top here. And I'll meet you back once we have gone all the way around. So once you get to this top corner, you've gone all the way around the perimeter, you're going to pull your yarn through a little bit. That's how I like to do it, at least. Go ahead and cut it. And then we'll make one more little stitch with our needle. This can be a little bit difficult to do. Sometimes if you give it a little moisture, a little lick, it will do a little better staying together. All right. So we're going to do that last stitch with our needle. And then we'll weave in this end that's left. Just go ahead and take it through the different stitches. This is just to secure the end so that it's not sticking out as a little annoyance. So go ahead and do that. You can also, if you have any other pieces of the yarn hanging off, you'll want to do the same thing. Go ahead and weave them into the body of your cozy. What I did at this end, you can see, is just when I was going around the edge, I incorporated the little tail that was coming off from our start. So you can do that, or you could weave it in at this point. All right, now that I've woven in those ends that I had, I'm just gonna go ahead and snip my yarn. You can kind of pull it a little bit to make sure that that little end sort of disappears into the body. So to attach our button, again, we're going about 6 rows back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can kind of count over from the other side so you get an even number on this side as well. All right, so that stitches the middle. So I'm going to come up from the back side with my needle here. And then go ahead and put my button on. Depending on the style of your button, you may do this a little differently. For example, this other one that I did had 4 holes in it, and it does not have this little support system underneath. So you got to keep your yarn a little bit looser on that one, and then you just sort of go over one side and then go over the other side, so it makes a little X mark. And as you're doing this, you want to make sure that it's loose enough so that your area here where you're pulling that over can fit properly. You wouldn't want your button to be too tight and not be able to fit your chain on there. All right, so I'm going to go over and in, make that first stitch. I think what I'm going to do is just do 2 stitches on this one through it, and then we'll tie off the rest of our yarn. So again, that's once another time through the buttonhole and back and down into our piece here. And this is all done underneath that button, so you're not going to see any of it. All right, I'll make sure that looks all right. I think yes. I'm going to check this direction, make sure that goes on just fine, and that looks good. And then I'm going to go ahead and just tie this off. You could at this point just weave in your ends. I like to do a couple of knots because I think it makes it probably a little stronger, but it's not totally necessary. So I'm going to do a couple of knots, probably 2, and then I'll weave in the ends and I'm all finished. So there we have it, all finished. If you liked this project, please tune in to the other episodes of this series, and also take a look at some of the books and items that we have at the library. For example, this lovely book called Home Decoration in Crochet by Tanya Ebert Hart. One of the projects I really like in here is this really cute little cupcake pot holders. There's a lot of really nice things in there. There's also this book that's called Simple Crocheting. This is really nice because it has a lot of introductory information on crocheting and information on how to do the stitches. All of these books will have some information on how to do the stitches. That's by Erica Knight. One that I really liked in here was this necklace that's made from flowers and leaves made with a crochet hook. And I also have, for the little ones in your life, this is a really nice book, Bold Baby Crochet. and lots of nice projects for clothing and little toys and decorations and stuff for kids. One of the ones I really liked is this really cute little monster pillow. So check those out. You can also go to the library's page and check out magazines that are for crocheting, and that's through RB Digital Magazine. All right, have a great crafting week.